Do you love the look of a bubble skirt? Well, today we're going to be drafting one in Clo3d. Hi, I'm Christina, and I love to digitally apparel pattern, creating unique pieces of wearable art. And I am so excited today to be drafting a bubble skirt in Clo3d. A little while ago, we did it in Adobe Illustrator, and now you can see how you can do it in Clo3d. So let's get started by pulling up my art board, well, my board right now. I have my sloper pattern already put on here. If you're interested in this pattern, you can definitely find it at my store. I'll put the link down below. And if you enjoy videos like this, please make sure to like and subscribe so that you can see other fun ways to digitally apparel pattern, as well as creating some amazing pieces of wearable art. So let's get started. The first thing I'm going to do is I'm just going to actually delete the top half of this pattern, because right now today we're only going to be focusing on the actual bubble skirt, not on the top or anything like that. So we're just going to have my skirt patterns here. And the next thing I'm going to do is I'm actually going to create the bottom layer of the bubble skirt. So to actually create a bubble skirt, you have to have kind of two skirts right on top of each other. You have the base layer that is just like the one that's closest to your skin, that will then connect at the hem, that will be shorter by a couple of inches, probably 2 or 3, maybe 4, so that it will connect and it'll create that little bubble effect. So the hem is not actually at the very bottom of the hem. That doesn't make sense. Well, the hem isn't at the very bottom of the visual hem. The hem is actually up behind, connected to this inner skirt. And then the outer skirt, you can do it many different ways. I'm just going to do a full circle skirt that will go down and up. And then that creates the actual bubble effect. So let's go ahead and get started. We have my front and back skirt pieces here. You can keep it this form-fitting if you would like. I always like to give my skirts a little bit more room. That way when people are walking around and everything, it's not like they're in a pencil peg leg skirt. They still have a little bit of room to fully walk and everything, since we're not going for that peg pencil skirt. So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and rotate. I'm going to move these just a little bit further apart. And now that I have them a little ways apart from each other, I'm going to go ahead and start closing the darts. So I'm going to highlight the dart I'm going to start with. I always like to start with the one more to the center. We're going to right click, rotate dart, click on where we want to rotate from, click there, click on the side we want to move, boom. I don't want to have any dart down there, so we're just going to leave it open. We'll deal with those later. We're going to do the same to the other side. Just like so. Now I can go back and, oops, wrong, and delete these guys, which then causes it not to have curvature. So we can then add the curvature back in. And it's giving us, if you look really close in those corners, it's giving us, you want to get them basically at 90. Of course, you can get one at 90 and not the other easily. Pull it down this way. There we go. We're going to call that close enough for right now. So there, that is my first one. Now I probably didn't actually move these quite far enough apart, so we're just going to move that over again. We're going to close the dart, so we're going to rotate the dart, pick the side, rotate it, boom. Next dart. It is much quicker to do these dart rotations in Clo than it is in Adobe. And it's because, whoops, well, that's okay. It's because there is just so much extra pieces and bits that you have to cut apart, that in this patterning software, it actually just does a lot of that for you. So that is really handy. We're just going to delete that, and we're going to leave one. We'll have to make sure the sewing's not turned on. We'll go and do that in the next video when we're actually sewing it together. But I'm going to do one where I deleted it, and then I'll leave one with those dots to keep it there. So you can kind of see what that is. So that will be our underskirt. And it's going to be a length of 22.881. Next, what we need to do is we actually need to create the overskirt. So these will be the underskirts. We now need to create the overskirt. So I'm just going to go ahead and come over here, and we're going to do some quick math calculations while we're working here. So we know that to get a circle, it is 2r pi, or it is the diameter pi to get the circumference. We want to know basically what the circumference is. So we're actually going to come back over. So right now, half of my waist is measuring at 13.45. So I'm going to bring up my calculator. Let's start that over. 13.45 times 2. So is 26.9. So 26.9 is my waist. I'm going to just take some notes so that we can make sure that we have it. So to create the circle, we need to figure out what the radius or diameter of the circle is for that center waist. So to do that, we're going to take 26.9, and we're going to, well, I don't need it to be exactly that because I actually want a little bit of gathering at the waist. So what we're going to do is we're going to times that by 1.5, just for a little bit of gathering. You can do it just depends on how much gathering you want there. I'm only going to do 1.5. So my 1.5 times equals 40.35. So that is actually the center waist circle I'm going to want to create. So we're just going to note that. Now we're going to have to figure out what the bigger circle is that we're going to want. We are going to, so we have it at 22.881 is this length. So we want it to go at least 22.881. But like I said at the very beginning of the video, we actually don't want the hem to be at the lowest point visually seen. We want the hem to go down and back up. So we're going to add 6 inches to that length, so that it has 3 inches to go down past it and 3 inches to come back up. So for the radius of the larger skirt, we want it to be at least 22.881 plus 6, and that is half of that radius. And that's not, well, yeah, so that's what we want in between our two circles. So that doesn't actually equal our full radius. So we're going to just make that measurement note. 28.881 is skirt length. And now we're going to go find some of our radiuses. So, or diameters, depending on how you want to do it. So we know our circumference for our small waist is 40.35. So, 40.35. There we go. We're going to divide that by pi, so 3.14. So our radius for this one, sorry, not our radius, our diameter. So the radius, if you want the radius, you then have to divide by another 2, but we want the full diameter because we're working on both sides. So we're going to go 14.43. And then we are going to divide that by 2 because we will want the radius. Well, we could use it with the diameter, but we're going to do radius is 7.21. Next, we're going to do the exact, no, we're not going to do the exact same thing. But what we're going to do, so we know our skirt length, so half of our skirt we want to be 28.881. So we're going to do the 28.881 plus the radius, so we want the other half, so 7.21, and that is that radius of the biggest circle that we're going to be creating, which is 36.091. But now what we want to make sure is we want to make sure that we're not creating the radius of that. We want to do the diameter. So we're going to multiply that by 2, which is 72.182. I love it. Circles get huge. Especially when you're doing full circles. They can get really big really fast. So we're going to go over here and we're going to draft a circle. We're going to hold shift and I'm just going to go ahead and click, and then we're going to size it exactly how big we want it. So I way over I way overed it. We want 72.182. We're going to hit OK and we're going to go there. Then the next thing, we want to move to an internal circle. So we're going to, again, holding shift, let it happen, and then I'm going to change it to the exact size I want, which is 14.43. Not there. Cancel. I want to make sure we want here 14.43. There we go. I want 43, not, there we go. 14.43. Perfect. And we're going to change it. It's going to move it like that. Then we want to make sure that it is in the center. Oops, let me grab the correct tool and plop it there in the center. Then we can go ahead and cut it out of there. So we now have our overskirt and our underskirt all ready to go. When we're actually sewing these, we're probably going to want to have a front and a back though. So the other thing that I'm going to do is we're going to draw an internal line this time, going from the edge straight over, and then we're going to do again straight over like that. Oop, wrong line, wrong tool. And we're going to cut it so that we then have a front and a back. This guy can just get deleted away. Super fast, super easy to create this base pattern. The last thing I am going to do is I want to actually create a waistband for the skirt. So I'm going to create a front waistband and a back waistband. So we're going to go ahead and highlight, and we have 6.684. So you can either create it, it depends on how you actually want to do it. If you want to unfold it and not actually have a seam down that center front, you can keep it on the half and unfold them both, or we'll do it both ways. So this side, we're going to put a seam down the center front. So we're actually going to create 6684. We're going to create a rectangle. Oops, cancel. Okay, we're going to create 6684. Oh, that's not, there we go. We want the width, 6684. And the height, we're just going to do a 1.5. Okay, so for the front, we're going to have it seamed together. So what we're going to do is we're going to make a symmetric pattern with sewing here, and we're going to make a symmetric pattern with sewing here. Then for the back, we're actually going to unfold. So we're going to, where is it? So instead of highlighting it all, I forgot you have to highlight the line you want to unfold on. Unfold symmetric editing with sewing. There we go. So now I have the back, no seam, it's unfolded. And we're going to, which I probably should have done that on the front, so that technically you could have a zipper up the back. You know, things you think of after you actually do it. But what we're going to do next is make our line, or our waistband, which is 67.66. So we're going to do the same thing. We're going to do 67.66 by 1.5. We're going to hit OK. We're going to move it just over a little bit. Grab the line, unfold with symmetric editing, like that. The symmetric editing just lets it be, so if I can grab just this point, like that, I can actually change, and it will change it symmetrically on both sides. But I don't want to do that. So now we have our bubble pattern skirt all ready to go. And that is how quick and easy you can actually create a bubble skirt in Clo3d. If you enjoyed this video, please make sure to like and subscribe, and we will be actually sewing together this pattern next week so you can see how we're actually going to sew it onto the avatar and kind of look at it and test it out and see how we like it. So definitely check back next week to see how this bubble pattern, this bubble skirt pattern, will get put together. I look forward to seeing you in some of my other videos. Happy patterning!